Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to WCS Challenger America. We are finally ready to hop into some really splendid games for Group C. Of course, my name is Fear Dragon. I am joined by Jeff in control, Robinson at the desk. Waving to the fans. Cool. So Group C is going to be starting up for WCS America, and of course these have 4 wonderful players. But before we talk about that, I want to talk a little bit about the format for Challenger. Maybe you tuned in on the middle of WCS Europe, and you didn't quite get to see how things are playing out. So these are of course, the groups in the format. So we have 16 players that start off in Challenger. These groups determine which 8 players are going to advance on to the playoffs, and from there we're going to have very, very wonderful next weekend. But of course, Jeff.
Is it next weekend?
It's next weekend. I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, you know, it's been a slow day at the office, guys. Actually been a very fast day. But
yeah.
So there's been a little bit of StarCraft whiplash, if you will. That previous group went by really quick with a lot of cheese. You guys, if you missed it, make sure and check out the VODs. Check out the YouTube on StarCraft as well. We're moving on to the North American group here, and you called them wonderful. What do you really feel about this group? Give me the give me the down and dirty.
I mean, to talk about this very realistically and from the heart,
please.
I think that there's gonna be a lot on the line here, as we have a $10,000 prize pool.
Holy cow.
That's actually coming on up, and $1,600 for first place. So these players definitely care about this quite a bit. There's the WCS points that add in a lot for seeding, especially for a lot of the NA players, and of course $400 to last place, even if you don't quite make it out of your group. So
it's something.
Yeah,
you know, just for qualifying, not bad. But what do they really get out of this? You know what I mean? Personal journey, the experience. You can't put a price on that, Fear Dragon.
Yeah, realistically, I do think that actually quite a few of the players, like for example, Vindicta, who's going to be playing today, has a lot to gain out of making it out of this group, because he is kind of like, you have the underdogs who are there and saying like, yeah, I want to make a name for himself and prove that I'm actually fairly good player. You also have someone like Silky, who's actually been on the up and up extremely lately. Silky has a lot to prove in saying, you know what, I have been really good. I've shown some really fantastic games, for example, at BTSL versus Hero, who's a very tough opponent, and unfortunately didn't end up losing there. But he's shown that he's actually becoming one of the best Zergs in North America. I think even M. Canning was saying he thinks that Silky is actually the 2nd best Zerg player in North America.
Pretty tough words from a guy that doesn't even play on that server, I suppose.
Well, he likes to play in the North American, he likes to play in the North American server because he thinks Korea's a little too easy. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I gotcha. But that does set up this first match here, which is going to be Scarlett versus Vindicta. Now, you are the self-proclaimed, I think deservedly so, kind of North American librarian, if you will. You're kind of the guy that knows.
I like to go with Mom, but yeah.
Mom?
Yeah.
Okay. Vindicta, is this his first WCS showing?
Ooh, so I think that he's qualified for Challenger, or he's made it through before, but I think that he didn't really have any amazing results if he did. And of course, this is going to be a nice opportunity for him, because these matches are going to be starting off as best of 3s for this group stage. Yeah. And of course, 2 players are going to advance out of the group. 2 players drop out. I mean, Jeff, I gotta go with it.
Oh, these are segues.
I gotta go with the production. All right,
but
yeah, like I said though, this is realistically, this is a nice opportunity for someone like Vindicta to make those upsets versus, I would argue, Scarlett and also Semper, players that have shown a lot of inconsistency in the past. Yeah. So this is like a hard group, but also probably one of the better groups in a weird way for Vindicta.
For an underdog to come out?
For an underdog to have like a good day and surprise everyone, I would say.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid to say anything else because it might just get segued into some other graphic. I'm not sure if they're... Is there any more graphics?
No, we're done. We're done. We're getting ready to move to that first match. It is going to be Scarlett versus Vindicta. Scarlett, heavy favorite coming to this match. Very heavy favorite. But... again, Scarlett has shown some inconsistency, especially it seems like when she is playing in it's like this non-Korean tournament thing. If she's playing in a event or any kind of tournaments outside of Korea, it just seems like we see a different Scarlett a lot of the time.
Yeah, I want to throw another thing out there, though. I feel like Scarlett takes care of business. Like, she's supposed to beat Vindicta. I think she does. I think it's that inconsistency shows up when she is very much so a top-tier player, but she can lose to other top-tier players, whereas, you know, some others can string together wins.
All right, we're going to be starting up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, top of the blue Terran player. He is Vindicta. playing for Infinity Gaming.
Oh, we don't have his real name. Or is that his real name, actually?
Vindicta?
Yeah.
That'd be a pretty boss
Like
name.
Cher or Madonna.
Yeah.
Could just be Vindicta.
Well, let's find down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have our red Zerg player for Team Expert. It is Scarlett.
Oh, they just didn't do full names this whole time, actually. Wow.
They had it for the European groups.
They did. Do you think it's a bias against North American players?
You know, I would be willing to
Could
believe
be.
it. Conspiracy. Sasha Hostin.
Yeah.
I don't actually know Vindicta's full name.
I do.
What is it?
Patrick Bateman. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah.
I
Straight up.
also can't tell if you're just baiting.
No, that's his name. I looked
Okay.
it up before.
Oh, I'm impressed.
Yeah, he's a... Do you know what he does for a living and stuff, actually?
I do not, no.
He's a lawyer.
Oh,
Work.
really?
Yeah.
I thought he was a student in school.
You thought he was a student?
I thought he was a student.
No, at one point he was, I think. He went with Mike Allen, or who was it? No, it was Paul Allen, actually, I think, that he went to school with.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, his apartment overlooks a park, though, in New York City. Did you know that?
You know, I didn't.
You didn't know that?
But I'm learning so much right now,
There's
Jeff.
a lot.
Tell me more about Vindicta.
Well, you know what? More on that a little bit later, actually. We do have him scouting out kind of normal stuff there. A little bit of a return to normalcy as the last couple series got a little bit wild.
Yeah. Well, like you said, return to normalcy. We do have Reactor coming up on the barracks. Don't quite have the factory plopping down. Usually you see the factory, I think, start up before the reactor. But, you know, small little differences. We'll see if that actually ends up turning into something a little bit different. But Vindicta, as you guys have seen, he doesn't actually have a ton of prize money to his name or anything.
Yeah.
But he's been a player that's been in the online tournament scene for quite a bit of time. I believe that I've seen him kind of go for mech style. I've seen him go for some of that bio style. But for a while, I think he's been in the online tournament scene and just been an ever-present name that you never see make it super far. And this is kind of like one of his big breakout performances already.
Yeah, just qualifying is a big accomplishment, but that's kind of the nice, and I say this often, but the cool part about WCS Challenger is that this is the place where those players who would be making a name for themselves and kind of coming up, you have to do it here, right? You don't just all of a sudden necessarily, unless you go to the open bracket, appear at the WCS stops. You got to make it through Challenger, which has its own prize money, its own WCS points as well. But honestly, if you win your group or beat someone like Scarlett, even at this stage, that in and of itself is something people will talk about.
Okay, so we do have the factory finishing up, and he's not going to swap that factory onto the reactor, at least not yet. He's going to just make a single Widow Mine, add in a few Marines, get up to Starport. We might be seeing kind of a really old school build that I haven't seen for a while from a Terran player, which is just that Marine Widow Mine drop.
And I've never liked it, Ravi. I never have liked it. It must work on ladder. There must be some other complication to it where it's a nice segue opening, because for me, and basically, I commentate, you know, WCS, the Premier stuff. I never see the Widow Mine land a mega hit, especially now. It reveals itself after it fires. I don't know.
Well, Jeff, I'm glad that you jinxed it so we can get to witness a massive drone connection. Go full tasteless.
Oh, is that what you're saying? It's going to happen. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you basically have just said that it's not going to happen definitively, so.
I have to
going
say,
by today.
Of the caster curses that exist, mine is one of the weaker ones. Like if this was a Dresden file, I'm like an acolyte wizard. I'm way down there. The death curse of like Tasteless, who's been, you know, Time Bone's been around since the beginning of time. His curse power is insane. It's insane.
All right, Hellion's going to be moving across the map. I kind of like this part where you do move in with a few other units alongside the drop, and you try and draw the queens out of position. You just try and draw their attention out of position. Scarlett, of course, a world-class player, should be able to keep on top of both of the attacks, but she doesn't really have any indication that this is exactly what's going to be coming so far. She's seen only 2 Hellions and a Reaper that may be starting to say, like, okay, there should be more Hellions, but maybe you're just leaving some back at home. Now she sees the medevac, though.
To your point, this is the best chance it has of doing something. I do like that. And it is just going to be that one Widow Mine and a bunch of Marines inside that medevac. They're landing. Not much of a reaction from Scarlett just yet. It's mostly Queens, keep in mind, so they're kind of slow moving between the bases. Widowmine does go down. There's a connection for drones. It's great. It's not a bad start at all. If Vindicta can get the queen as well.
Oh, he's going to lift up and go after it. This is actually going to be nice, but doesn't quite get the kill on it. Really good pullback.
She's got her girls with her now. I know about transfusions, though. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. And she actually ends up injecting into the hatchery with the high energy queen. So that one also is not going to happen. Well, now we end up seeing the Hellions continue to poke forward. Unfortunately, these Hellions were not able to do too much during that attack distance. That was a pretty micro-intensive fight for Vindicta.
Yep,
but,
great defense by Scarlett.
Yeah.
The one connection of 4 drones is nice. I guess the good news for Vindicta is he did not lose the medevac. He didn't lose even the Hellions or anything like that. So it's not the best harass, but so far it hasn't cost him anything.
Okay, medevac takes a couple more hits from that queen. Have to be so careful with that, but getting some good damage on this hatchery. And considering Scarlett playing a little bit on the greedier side, not going for... Oh, no, she does have a baneling now, so she hasn't made any banelings yet, though.
Calling her greedy, and then you find out all along.
Scarlett does play greedy quite often, I feel.
Well, she is a Zerg player. Third base already up here for Vindicta, though.
Yep, not going to commit too heavily into a big attack or a big all-in or anything like that. Really nice job on the upgrades from Scarlett, though. She is going to be leading in those upgrades by quite a bit, and that's kind of one of the downsides of when you go for things like the Widowmine drop or that kind of stuff. You end up investing a lot of that early gas or those early resources into getting up a fast reactor for the barracks and making Marines. And your engineering base can sometimes fall a little bit further behind.
What is Vindicta's picture there?
Hold on.
By one of the command centers. It's more important.
Yeah, is it though?
It is.
Okay.
For sure. Do you know who that is?
It's one of the people on the crew on the Hyperion.
Yeah.
I don't remember her name.
I don't either. And isn't that a shame? Some of these characters that just don't get the love and attention they deserve.
What's the name of the defaults avatar?
I don't know. Kevin.
Kaczynski or something, I think.
Kaczynski?
Yeah, something like that.
Gosh, medevacs like this make me so nervous. You're super dead. No way.
It is dead. Scarlett having so many queens out on the map is gradually going to start losing a few of them.
Queens.
But Marines are also going to go to...
Oh my gosh.
1 health Marine.
Stop. Look at the queen. She's not even bothered by it yet. She's like, I'll get to you in a second.
That Marine is still there, by the way.
Oh, shoot the medevacs.
Okay. Marine's still there.
Oh! This is awkward.
Medevac.
Oh, you got to watch him. We got to go back to that, man.
Oh, no, I got him on hotkey. Oh, there he goes.
What? Oh,
That's
it's the queen.
He moved forward to go
Doesn't
attack.
their range shock you sometimes? It's supposed to be short.
Yeah, you know, that changed a while ago. I think it was like 7 years ago.
Yeah, but it just time flies when having fun, doesn't it?
Yeah. All right,
I did that already.
Yeah, that's going to push back a lot of this medevac harassment, and we're starting to see semblances of that kind of very traditional Scarlet creep spread starting to get out there.
Yeah.
Starting to move forward from every single angle possible, and this is where it becomes harder and harder to do drop harassment versus her.
I mean, I know we always talk about this, and we have for years, but it is a thing of beauty. It's not easy to do that every single game, and she just always finds a way to have that kind of creep spread.
And it's on top of the fact that Vindicta did use those Hellions to scan and kill off a bunch of the creep tumors. It's about the respreading of creep even after it gets picked off that makes it really, really frustrating to deal with. But this hatchery down here on the south side going to be the big target for Vindicta to try and push into. He's got a lot of Marines in these medevacs, so he's pretty mobile with this force.
Well, he's going to need to be because he's got to turn tail and run. It's only 2 tanks. I don't think there's many Widowmines, if any, over here.
No Widowmines on the map right now.
Yeah. I like Scarlett's patience here. She probably has an army that can beat this, but fighting off creep can get pretty expensive fast for the Zerg, so she's just waiting. She says, okay, you're out there, sure, but as long as you're not on creep, you're not really threatening anything, and I'll just keep getting bigger.
Okay, Vindicta may be waiting for another wave of reinforcements as well as 2-2 upgrades advantage. If he engages here before 2-2, I mean, he also just does not have enough of an army to engage this. But
as you pointed out, Scarlett's already working on 3-3 and a Trenel. We're not even at 10 minutes. Holy cow.
She honestly just hasn't been messed with that much because it's just a little bit of the creep spread, and there was the 4 drones earlier on.
Yeah.
But after that, she's just had a spectacular defense against everything Vindicta has thrown at her.
All right, Vindicta is on that creep, does push back the tumors. Scarlett showing a lot of patience, double medevac. And here's we've always talked about this too, but the huge bonus of creep spread is, as Roddy likes to point out, it's kind of like cheating. Like this drop cannot go to the base. It has to just clear creep for right now.
Yep.
Whereas for against other Zergs, it's very reasonable for that drop to show up over at the 3rd or 4th, whatever you want to call it.
All right, Medivac's trying to go sit in the corner for a little bit. They actually end up unloading, but the Lings are still following it.
Vindicta's going home, by the way. Not coming back. He's kind of waffling.
Well, this is a weird moment because Scarlett is about to go for the big counterattack. She's about to storm through the 3rd base, and Scarlett's probably okay with losing a 5th base in exchange for one of the bases of 3 for Vindicta.
And right now, if you look at the middle of the map, Vindicta's he is actually poking at the space. He's going to commit to that decision. And the reason, as Robbie kind of pointed out, that is dangerous for this is any number of Banelings that connect with that Bioforce at all, the game just instantly ends when you base trade with the Zerg.
All right, Scarlett actually does not opt to go into the natural just yet, but she's going to come back and she finds some of the Siege Tanks. Got to be careful with those Banelings.
Yeah, if the Banelings die there, the teeth of this army gets taken out pretty quick. It's just hiding.
That blinding cloud.
Up into the Lings because of the blinding cloud. Here comes the full MLG no-scope 360 attack, doing a pretty good job kiting, but there's only so much kiting you can do when all this stuff shows up. The Hydra's shooting down Medivacs, a gigantic supply advantage for Scarlett. She does give up 2 bases for just the 1, but it's the loss of the army that gives Scarlett so much advantage here.
Yep. Still got a couple of these Lings still alive, but not for long, as the Planting Fortress does take care of them. But Scarlett can be on the counter-offensive now. 3-3, getting close to finishing up. Adrenal Glands is finished up, and she just double expands to retake those bases. And I think it's very important, though, that she does deny that other base that was now reestablished here for Vindicta. If she doesn't do that, she does give Vindicta a lot of potential to kind of regroup and, I guess, replenish that army supply you just lost.
It's very true, Ravi. If she doesn't eliminate bases, then all of a sudden Vindicta will have them. That is a gigantic force. Now we see Corruptors coming out alongside those Vipers and the Greatest Spy bet to finish, to go a little bit into Nathanius mode here, voice-wise. I want to, you know what, Ravi?
It's like a British Nathanius.
You never do accents.
I am really bad at
No, what if you're really good at it, though?
Well, here's the risk, Jeff, is if I try for the first time on the broadcast, there's a really good chance my accent will sound extremely racist.
Oh my, that's true. I didn't even think of that. I actually often don't think of that.
Yes. Which is why I don't really try and do it for the first time on a broadcast.
You're wise. You know what, Ravi? You're a pretty smart guy. There's a couple of ghosts out here already for Vindicta, which is, you know, nice. Supply-wise, they're close. So don't count Vindicta out just yet. And as Ravi did point out, and then I wasted time by making a joke about, the base did go down undeterred. So Vindicta right back up to 4 bases, has an army equalizing here. Now, in Scarlett's upgrade advantage, by the way, starts to kind of melt away as time goes on.
Well, Scarlett only has 13 Banelings, so there is a potential here for Vindicta to do something.
This army's not scary to me. 3 tanks, right? Like, if there was 9 Widow Mines or something crazy, Liberator's starting to get set up, I would start to believe, but it's just Bio. You can't get it done with just Bio, Robbie.
Not with the Broodlords finishing up, with the 5 Broodlords coming in and even more still starting up. That's where I think I do put a little bit of a nail in the coffin here for this push, accomplishing as much as he really wants it to.
I don't know if it's a nail. It's like a saber-toothed tiger as far as I'm concerned. The first of the 2.
That's animal abuse.
It is, but it's also scary. I like the EMP on the Vipers. It's something you don't see nearly as much, and now kind of standing toe-to-toe a little bit.
Yeah.
Not bad, as good as the fight could go. This is about as good as it gets, but as Ravi pointed out earlier, 5 Broodlords with no Vikings, no real number of ghosts. Forget about it. Forget about it.
Yeah, he retreats back and gets to the safety of the Siege Tanks, but the Siege Tanks are very soon going to become very unsafe units to be around with the Broodlords coming forward.
Yep. Any heavy machinery always warns you not to be around them when under the influence of drugs. Guess what? All that Bioforce hitting the stem button all the time, forgetting about that warning.
This is, I do like this move from Vindicta, where he says, okay, I'm going to try and go back to some of that drop harassment. Unfortunately, like you said, the infinite map vision of the creep is going to be able to catch these medevacs, but he is also buying space for himself to start replenishing that army supply to get up more ghosts, and if he snaps off this hatchery, that's another really awesome bonus for him.
Yeah, really awesome bonus, I suppose, but I still just look at this. And I look at that production tab, and it's just 2 Vikings at a time coming out, but they're just now coming. And this Bioforce is not winning space. It's losing medevacs, it's losing tanks. 60 supply advantage. Now the Lings are in charge.
I mean, this is the true Zerg Swarm style. There is not a whole lot that Vindicta actually has to defend. Has a few of these Marines and Ghosts that'll at least keep those Lings from charging too far forward, but Scarlett's getting up +2 missile attack. She's getting up Pathogen Gland. She's getting up Infestors. She's getting up air weapon upgrades for those Broodlords. She's getting everything.
She's kind of doing that thing where she's like, I'm pretty sure I got the game under control, but to make absolutely sure, I'm going to add those final touches to this composition, as Ravi just pointed out, and then go in for the death sweep.
Yeah. I mean, Scarlett really just probably doing us a favor and saying, yeah, you know, the game,
Let's
the
slow it down.
broadcast has been pretty short.
Yeah,
let's
make up for the Euro, bros.
Let's give people some nice moves. Maybe get some burrow researched or something. Get a good burrowed Baneling hit in there for the fans.
I could see Vindicta just tapping out. There's like, no, we're going to have a fight here.
Yeah. I think he's just going for this final fight, but even these two Broodlords are actually causing problems alongside all the Banelings and Lings. And with this and the third base getting taken out, the natural, there it is. GG. Scarlett takes the first game in this best of 3.
In convincing fashion, by the way. I think it's only fair. Very often the casters will talk about Scarlett as inconsistent and whatnot, but she consistently gets to the place where she then can perhaps have mixed results. But I feel like that place is against the other top tier players, your Neebs, your Masas in that North American scene. Remember, she only did just lose in those semifinals against Masa, who proxy barracks in all 5 of the 5 games.
Yes.
Pretty nuts. And then he went on to do that in all 7 of the 7 games against Neeb.
And got very close to beating Neeb there.
Very close. It got weird. So, I look at this and I say, Vindicta, what's his name?
Vindicta.
Again? Vindicta? I almost called him Sinvicta because I was like doing a Scarlet thing. Anyways, he messed with my brain. This would be a tall order. For him to just come in and beat Scarlett in the first best of 3 would be really tough. I don't see it happening. He's down 0-1. She just never was in danger this game. Yeah, and to be honest, like the other thing to bring up what you were talking about with Masa or Maru taking out Scarlett with a lot of the proxy barracks, that's a Masa thing to do. That's something that Masa can do really well, and he's very good at it. It's not something that I would say Scarlett has an extreme weakness toward. It's not like, Masa has identified the weakness for Scarlett, so all you have to do is go for proxy barracks, and that's how you win the game. As much as all of the Zergs on Twitter right now, and even some of the Terrans apparently seem to be tweeting lately. You know, you say that. I actually, and this is, this will be my Acolyte level curse, I suppose, 'cause I'm going to ask for this, but if I am Vindicta, I go for the proxy right now. I know it's kind of expected.
Yeah.
But there is some solvency to the idea that it is actually so tough for the Zerg to hold off. It's not unwinnable, but it's very tough. It's easier for the Terran to execute than for the Zerg to defend, I think.
I think if I had to put it in percentages,
please do.
The way that I would
You do have to.
Oh, of course.
I'm saying it right
of
now.
course.
Yeah.
The way I would say is if, let's say, trying to beat Scarlett in a macro game right now is maybe like a 25 or 30% chance for Vindicta. What?
Those are pretty high.
Yeah, I'm giving general. Wow. I'm giving an opportunity.
Wow.
It's probably a little. It's probably a bit lower.
Yeah.
But a proxy is still not over 50%. It's maybe like a 30, 35% chance or something.
Slightly better, you're saying.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Okay.
You go for the higher percentage option, even if it is a little bit more predictable.
Well, we are getting underway. The map is going to be Catalyst, and we are commentators, so we're contractually obligated to refer to this as the most common map. Very straight up, very balanced, very normal. But this progress bar does not want to let go. There we are. We're in.
I think you dropped out of the game.
I hope so.
Well, you unfortunately won't be able to use that observer PC that you use oh so much.
I will go off the lovely observing of Mr. Fair Dragon.
Thank you. Spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, sitting up 1-0 in this best of 3, it is Team Expert Scarlett. It's currently in Canada right now, not playing
Canada.
Korea. Spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map. Bit of an underdog, well, more than just a little bit of an underdog, but still fighting for his chance. It is Vindicta. Team Infinity Gaming.
How do you say that last name?
I didn't catch the last name.
Maybe next time.
Bullet dodged. You know what's actually kind of cool, though, is that
there it is. Go ahead.
Marmalolejo.
I want you to someday work at an airport, you know, where they call out these names like, can we please have a Miguel Marmalute? Marmagella?
Is there an AA Ron? An AA
Ron?
A-Ron?
A Ronnie?
Uh,
This guy seems like it's Aaron.
well, I mean, the real problem is that I can't ever actually try and say people's last names because I judge people and criticize them so much for mispronouncing mine.
Yeah.
So suddenly I'd look,
It's a double trap.
I'd look like a total troll.
Well, it's a good life lesson there. I too make fun of people for all kinds of different things, and very often you'll find me fall into that category where I could make fun of myself.
This is very true. But, okay.
He's just going to go with the normal open here.
Yeah.
If he does a Widowmine drop, I will actually move to being pretty critical. Like,
Yeah.
it's the classic, I describe it this way every time, but, you know, StarCraft players, they practice a certain thing all the time. It's very tough to be like, all right, well, I hit this monster. Do I just throw away my practice and do something crazy?
At least the same Widowmine drop as last time. Like, there are some really weird and kind of memey Terran builds out there where you just continuously drop Widowmines on your opponent and kind of, it's an odd feeling where you just never see the stopping of the Widowmines and you kind of eventually start getting damage done. So maybe something like that, but not the same kind as last game, I agree.
I would simplify the game. I would do quick double factory reactored Hellion into Hellbat, medevac drop with Marines and Hellbats, something where you can have a moment where Scarlett panics, a queen walks a little bit too far forward, gets roasted, and the game, you know, you don't have to cheese both games, but at least in the first game or something to try and give yourself an edge, and then make it hard for Scarlett to all of a sudden be like, well, am I going to cheese, or am I just going to play straight up, and then all of a sudden I'm one cheese away from Vindicta beating me? Just something to complicate the series, but when you see these young guys, they're like, well, I'm against one of the best players in all of North America.
Oh, Scarlett, if she realizes she can move the links, she can deny the block. Oh my god, there's no units coming out anymore. The Reaper has to return all the way home, and Scarlett finally has gotten that down that third now that the Reaper has been defeated, but man, these lings have done so much damage in the meanwhile. They get another SCV as well.
A lot of damage.
Okay.
Was pool first though, right? To get that?
I actually don't think so, because the Lings, or the Reaper was on the other side of the map just denying the third for so long that I think the Lings actually got a chance to move across the map.
Fair enough. That is a fast layer though, by the way. Very quick.
Yeah, very, very quick layer. Maybe partially off the back of the fact that her third base was denied for quite a bit of time. I think she got up to almost like 400 minerals, as the SCV plus the Reaper were being very annoying. But will Vindicta actually get into the main or the natural to actually scout this out? The creep spread already so far into the natural, or outside of the natural, this does become a really risky proposition.
It does. I think it's going to be a Spire, by the way.
I think it's going to be a Nydus from Retro.
You know what? I'm going to change my answer. Be that Nydus.
It's like a drop in food on the floor. You get 10 seconds.
Oh, I play 10 minutes usually.
10 minutes.
Germs are not very quick, man.
Okay, well, the Wallen is not quite complete. Scarlett does poke forward with a few of these lings. The Wallen is not exactly super important anymore, but the fact that the Marines were killed off earlier on...
Is this the only spotter, by the way? So she is just moving in.
It is, but there's no Marines out, so...
Yeah. That's a Nydus.
She killed the Marines earlier, and now we end up having the Hellions poking forward. They're working at...
They don't know.
They're trying to kill off the creep tumor with the rocks. He has no idea. He hasn't noticed yet.
You know, he's actually leaving. Okay, now he knows.
Okay.
But it's too late. Hello!
Where did the Banshee go? The Banshee was making its way across the map. It's retreating back home.
She's blocking the spot, actually.
Yep, there's some good transfuses, keeping a lot of those SCVs from getting in on top of that Nydus Swarm. The Hellions starting to come forward. It's mostly Queens over here. The Lings actually just walk straight in through the other side. Yeah. Going after the Hellions. They do get roasted, though. And Scarlett, she's done a lot of damage, but she is starting to get cleaned up.
Grubby. I want to love you, man. You make it so hard sometimes. She's starting to get cleaned up, you said?
Her Queens are almost out of energy.
Yeah. Let's watch this get cleaned up here.
Okay. It's still a pretty good spot for Scarlett.
Is it pretty good?
I'll agree. Pretty good.
Yeah, she's doing okay.
Yeah, but... Okay, hold on. There is... The third CC didn't finish. Never mind.
Yeah.
If the third CC had finished, I would actually... No, if the third CC had finished, I would like this position for Vindicta.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
3 CCs, you hold off a massive all-in like that.
Yeah.
You just lift up and defend your main base for a little bit. Get up a Siege Tank and some Banshees.
I need to subject myself to the school of Artosis, where no matter what your co-commentator says, you'll be like, absolutely. 3 CCs right now, held it off. Here comes this attack. But you know what? It's not this attack, it's the fact that he held off the first one that we should focus on, right? Good effort. Is he down 50 supply? 20 workers and 20 army?
He may be down a little bit in supply.
You know what, though? You know what he's not down in? Perseverance.
This is true. He's
got
not
heart.
tapped out yet. The Banshee's making his way across the map. There are already Spore Crawlers coming down, though, so Scarlett, even after having lost all those queens, she's reproduced a lot of those queens. She's got the defenses ready for those Banshees, which don't even have Cloak either, so
Yeah.
it's going to be tough.
It's just a Banshee. What is a Banshee without Cloak? It's like a... I'm trying to think of another mythological but less frightening creature, I suppose. Maybe a siren, but like a really friendly siren.
A siren that with no voice?
It's a mermaid, I think.
Yeah.
All right. And Scarlett, by the way, yeah, I was just going to say, she's playing it super safe, and Vindicta's just like, hey, I'm dead. You can... Game's over. That'll do it. Scarlett with the clean 2-0. And let me ask you this, Ravi. If Vindicta did see the nydus immediately, pulls everything back, does he hold it off?
It gets a little weird because the Banshee was on the other side, or so far on the other side of the map, and maybe that adds in a little bit of extra DPS there as the queens are popping out. The Hellions were also so far out of position, so maybe there's enough DPS, but even then, I think it's still a pretty difficult hold in that situation.
Yeah, it's just a tough kind of back and forth anyways, and it's interesting because I know that the mentality for Terran players is they're like, this opening is one of the only ones we can do. It's very good. But I so often see this Nydus Form timing attack, and I got to tell you, I almost never see it lose. Like, it came close. I was giving Ravi a very hard time.
You sound like all the Zerg players on Twitter with the Bunker Rush.
I was giving Ravi a hard time, but it just, like, guarantees to kill 20 or 30 SCVs. And I know that, you know, they cut drones to get to that point in time, but it feels like it's just guaranteed to do a lot of damage.
It is a really, really difficult attack to actually hold off, and you have to be so prepared. And in that situation, Vindicta just was not prepared at all. So we end up seeing Scarlett doing actually kind of what the Scarlett thing is, which is you win a really, really big macro game, and then you win a super cheesy, cheeky all-in, which is the two sides of Scarlett. There are only extremes with her, and there's nothing really in between. But you guys can see our next match is going to be Semper versus Silky. I'm really looking forward to this one, as these two guys have both been very, very solid players in the North American scene. We'll see you guys in a little bit with that series.